Good
morning. I'm Paul Hughes, and I'll be your speaker this morning. How are you doing?
Fine. Good.
Great. Have you read in the book of Revelation what it says for people with ears to do?
Here.
Hear. In fact, in Revelation 2:7, the importance of listening and listening effectively is addressed. It says that everyone that hath ears hear what the Spirit is saying to the church. That's in the King James translation. And when you check that translation out and you take it into the New Living Translation, you start to realize that even there, the difference in how we assign meaning and all those things requires us to listen more effectively. In the New Living, it says, let him that has ears listen and understand what the Spirit is saying to the churches. That difference is so great because we have to be able to get what we hear, what we read, past our ears and into our understanding in our heart so that we can effectively respond to the people around us. Dwight Moody said it this way. Famous Bible teacher says, the difference to listening to a radio sermon and going to church is almost like the difference between calling your girl on the phone and spending a whole evening with her. There's a drastic difference in the level of relationships. Today, we hope to give you a definition of effective listening. We hope to show you the value and importance of developing effective listening skills and how to go about starting that process of developing those specific skills that you will need. Just what is effective listening? In the late 1970s, an organization was established called the International Listening Association. And it's a whole group of people who are doing nothing but studying the concept of listening in the communication process. They finally came up with a working definition that says, the process of receiving, constructing meaning, and responding to spoken and or nonverbal messages. It's an active, ongoing process, and we have to realize that it's going to take engagement and time. Have you ever sat with someone and shared and poured your heart out? And as you're talking to them, they're listening, they're looking you in the face, and the minute you pause to get your breath, they just kind of say, oh, that was so great, or oh, that was so terrible, I'm so sorry, or, I'm so happy, but I gotta go. And they just kind of leave you sitting there like, I spoke, they heard, but I didn't get anything back that said they understood. We need to understand, Ralph Nichols said it this way. He's considered the father of listening. The most basic of all human needs is to understand and be understood. And the most effective way to do that is to listen to people. How important is the effective of listening? Jesus, in sharing with the disciples about being the good shepherd, said his sheep know his voice. Another shepherd's voice they won't hear. It's not that their ears won't work, but that the meaning assigned to the voice came through a relationship of listening and understanding. In 1 Corinthians in the church, when we all gather together, it says there has to be a distinction of the tongues with interpretation. There has to come an understanding. There has to be something more than just what we hear. We have to get into the relationship and actively engage in understanding. Rebecca Fall, whose mother died of pancreatic cancer, wrote a journal in which she said one of the most valuable things we can do to heal one another is to listen to each other's story. Only as we assign value to effective listening will we do anything about it in establishing better relationships. So how do we go about developing these skills? First of all, we have to have the mind of Christ. It's not that difficult. We just have to realize what everybody has to say is important. Jesus listened to the woman with the issue of blood. Jesus listened to Jairus when his daughter was dying. Jesus listened to a man named Zacchaeus, and it went way beyond just hearing what they had to say to establishing a relationship with them. In following God, we have to be aware that we have to have the mind of Christ. In James chapter 1, it says that we need to be quick to listen, not just hear. Because listening and implied in James chapter 1 means we take it beyond what we hear to understanding how we're supposed to respond and treat each other. J. Ersham said this, listening is an attitude of the heart, a genuine desire to be with someone, a genuine desire that attracts and heals. You can't get that in a mere quick listening to somebody. You have to spend time with them and actively engage in understanding what they're communicating to you, whether it be verbal or nonverbal. Effective listening is so critical to the success of your relationship with God. It is so critical to even self-talk and the things you read and try to help yourself grow. And it's so important to be able to reach out and touch others with just not words, but with the understanding of effective listening implied. Today we've looked at effective listening, what it is, how to define it, how important it is, and how to develop it, the skill of effective listening, by starting to let it get past your ears and into your heart. In closing, I'd like you to consider this. If God had a message for you in the last 5 to 7 minutes that would define what you need to do for the rest of your life, would you have been listening effectively enough to get it past your ears and into your heart? Thank you.